Hello, and welcome to our podcast on how to create a fun English learning environment. I'm Emma, and with me is Max. Today, we'll dive into some great ways to make learning English fun, easy, and something you can look forward to every day.
Hey, everyone, learning a language is a big journey, but it doesn't have to be boring or too serious. We're here to show you that with a bit of creativity, you can enjoy learning English just like playing a game or doing a hobby.
Exactly, Max. So let's start with something we call building your English zone. This is like creating your own little English world where you fill your space with things that help you learn. You can add English books, labels on everyday items, or maybe hang some posters with fun English phrases.
Yeah, and you don't need fancy stuff to do this. If you like reading, try adding one simple book in English to your bookshelf. Or even better, if you love music, start with English song lyrics. Just pick something you enjoy and see how you can include a bit of English in it.
And here's a cool tip. Decorate your space with words and pictures that make you smile. This can be funny quotes, words you like, or phrases you hear in movies or songs. Maybe it's the word adventure or sunshine. Seeing these every day can make learning English feel more natural and a bit more exciting.
Totally, Emma, and let's not forget about music. Listening to English songs is such a fun way to learn. You can start by just listening, then try to sing along. Later, maybe even learn the meaning of the words. Music is powerful because it sticks in your head.
Yes, songs have a rhythm that makes it easier to remember words. Plus, music connects you with the culture and the feelings behind the language. Try choosing a song that makes you feel good, and even if you don't understand every word, just enjoy it.
Another thing that's really fun is using English in games. If you like playing games on your phone or computer, why not try them in English? Many games have simple words, so they're perfect for learning. And if you play board games or card games with friends, you could make a rule to only speak in English during the game.
That's a great idea, Max. Games make it easy to learn because you're relaxed and you're not focused on studying. It's learning without even realizing it. Oh, and for something a bit creative, how about trying to keep a journal in English? It doesn't need to be a big story, just write about your day, what you ate, or something funny that happened.
Good point, Emma. Writing a little every day gets you used to thinking in English, and it can help with remembering words. Plus, it's something you can look back on later to see your progress. And here's a fun twist, you could even try writing some dreams you remember in English. They don't have to make sense, just try using English words.
Yes, that's such a fun way to connect with English in your own personal way. And speaking of personal, have you thought about practicing English with things you love to watch? Like a TV show, cartoons, or even cooking videos?
Absolutely. Watching shows or videos in English is one of the best ways to hear real-life conversation. You can start with subtitles, then challenge yourself to watch without them when you're ready. And if you love cooking, you could try making a recipe video in English or reading cooking tips in English.
It's all about combining English with things you already enjoy. Like, if you love animals, maybe find a few short videos or a book about animals in English. Or if you love sports, follow an athlete who speaks English and listen to their interviews or follow their posts.
Yes, finding what you're interested in makes the language stick more because it feels meaningful. And here's one more idea for creating a fun English environment: social media. If you use Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, follow accounts in English about topics you like.
Great idea, Max. Social media is everywhere now, so why not use it to learn? Just following an account or two can make your daily scroll time a bit educational. And remember, you don't have to understand every word. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, and don't put pressure on yourself to be perfect. It's okay if you don't get everything right away. The goal is to make English a regular part of your life in a way that feels enjoyable and natural.
Exactly. All right, I think we've covered some really fun ways to build a great English environment around you.
All right, let's jump right back in. So, we've already talked about creating an English zone and adding English into things you enjoy, like music and games. Now, let's dive into a few more ideas that make learning English feel less like a task and more like something you actually look forward to each day. One idea I really like is talking to yourself in English. Now, it might sound funny, but hear me out. This is a great way to practice speaking, even if you don't have a language partner. You can do it anywhere when you're brushing your teeth, cooking, or walking somewhere. Just start saying what you're doing in English, like, now, I'm making breakfast or I'm putting on my shoes. It's a small habit, but over time, it helps you get comfortable with thinking in English.
Yes, Max, that's such a helpful tip. Talking to yourself may feel strange at first, but it really works. And even if you only say a few words, it's still progress. For example, you can name things around you, like saying, "This is a table." "That's a window," or even describe what you see outside. "The sky is blue." "The trees are tall." The more you do it, the more natural it will feel.
Exactly, Emma, and if you want to make it even more fun, you could pretend you're giving a tour of your house in English. Imagine you're showing a friend around and explaining things in simple words like, "This is my kitchen, I cook here." "That's my favorite mug." It's a fun little exercise, and you can add new words each time.
That's a great point. And speaking of new words, another fun way to learn is to make a word wall. Now, this can be a small board, a piece of paper, or even sticky notes on your wall. Each time you learn a new word, write it down and add it to your wall. You can even draw a picture next to it or write a sentence using the word. This way, you'll see it often and remember it better.
Oh, I love the idea of a word wall, and if you're feeling creative, you could make each word look colorful or draw around it. It's like decorating your space with English. And another tip, you can change your wall every week. Take some words off and add new ones. It keeps things fresh and exciting.
Yes, and for those who enjoy drawing, you can try making small doodles for each word. For example, if your word is apple, draw a small apple next to it. It helps create a picture in your mind, which makes the word easier to remember. And Max, what do you think about adding a little reward system for yourself?
Oh, that's a fantastic idea. Emma, who doesn't love rewards, right? You could set small goals for yourself, like I'll learn 5 new words this week, and when you reach that goal, give yourself a little treat. It could be anything you enjoy, maybe watching a favorite show, eating something you like, or just taking a break.
Absolutely, learning can be challenging, so adding rewards keeps it positive and fun. And while we're talking about goals, how about setting up a weekly English challenge for yourself? You can pick one small challenge, like use 5 new words today or write one sentence in English each day. It gives you something specific to work on, and it's not too big, so it feels doable.
That's a great point. Having these mini challenges can add a bit of excitement to learning. And if you want, you can also involve your friends or family. If someone else is learning English, challenge each other. For example, you could see who can find the most English words around the house or who can say a sentence with the most new words.
Yes, learning with others can make a big difference. Even if they're not learning English, you can ask them to quiz you on new words or phrases. Sometimes, just sharing what you've learned makes it more enjoyable. And another fun way to practice is to do role-playing. Pretend you're in a situation like ordering food at a restaurant and go through the conversation in English.
Oh, that's perfect, Emma. Role-playing is such a fun way to get comfortable with everyday English. You could imagine you're in a coffee shop and practice ordering a drink. "Hi, I'd like a coffee, please." Or imagine asking for directions like, "Excuse me, where is the library?" You can practice these little scenarios in your head or with someone else.
And if you want to go further, you could even write down your role-play conversations and read them out loud. It helps you get used to speaking, and here's a twist. Sometimes you could pretend to be someone else. Imagine you're a tourist or a detective. Make it playful, and it will feel like you're just acting rather than practicing English.
Yes, making it playful is the key, and let's talk about adding a little adventure to learning. If you have access to English-speaking communities online, like in forums, social media groups, or apps, you could join and just read people's conversations. You don't even need to talk at first, just read and learn.
Yes, Max, online communities are so helpful. You can learn a lot just by seeing how people talk naturally. And when you feel ready, you could start commenting, even if it's something small like "nice post." Or "I agree." This is a great way to practice without feeling too pressured.
Exactly. It's like dipping your toe in the water. And to make things even more interesting, here's a tip. Try to think in English. I know it sounds tricky, but try this with small things. For example, if you see a cat, instead of saying GATO in your head, say cat. Or if you're deciding what to eat, try to list options in English like bread, pasta, salad.
That's a great one, Max. Thinking in English helps you get more comfortable with the language. Start small, and slowly, it'll feel more natural. And don't worry if you mix languages at first, that's normal. Just enjoy the process.
And to wrap up this part, one final idea for a fun learning environment: set up a movie or book night in English. Once a week, choose a simple movie or book in English. It doesn't have to be difficult. Even cartoons or children's books can be really helpful and fun.
Yes, that's an amazing way to learn. Max, choose something short or simple, like a funny cartoon episode, and watch it in English. Don't worry about understanding every word, just focus on enjoying it. You'll learn a lot just by hearing the language in a real, natural setting.
So, there we go. We've covered more fun and creative ways to make learning English an enjoyable part of your daily life.
Alright, so let's keep going with more ways to create a fun English learning environment. We've already talked about making an English zone. Finding enjoyable activities like listening to English music, watching shows, talking to yourself, and even adding small rewards and challenges. Now, let's dive into some other ideas that might help keep learning exciting and fresh. One thing I love to suggest is using English in everyday routines. So think about all the small, daily tasks you do, like cooking, shopping, or even just making a to-do list. Try doing these activities with English in mind. For example, if you're making a shopping list, write the items in English. You could write milk, bread, apples, even if you're only able to write a few words. That's okay. Little by little, you'll start building vocabulary related to your daily life and you.
Oh, that's a good one, Emma. Everyday routines are perfect for learning because they're things you're already doing, so it's easier to remember the words. And here's a way to add even more English practice into your daily routine. Try setting your phone or other devices to English. When you see English on your screen every day on apps, settings, or notifications, you get a bit of practice without even realizing it.
Yes, and changing your phone's language setting to English is such a simple, effective way to learn. Plus, if you have apps for things like cooking, exercise, or even shopping, try using the English version if it's available. You'll start learning words and phrases you might not learn in a classroom. And speaking of apps, there are so many fun language learning apps out there, like Duolingo or Memrise. These apps have mini games that make learning feel like play.
Absolutely. Apps are amazing because they make learning feel like a game, and you can use them anytime, anywhere. And they often have short lessons, so if you're waiting for something like in a line or on the bus, you can fit in a quick lesson. But you don't even need an app to play games in English. You can make your own little games, too, like trying to find English words in your surroundings or trying to make sentences with words you know.
Yes, Max, And you could even try a little scavenger hunt. Look around your home or neighborhood and try to find things that you know the English words for. Or you can make a list of words you want to learn, like tree, flower, car, and go on a walk to find those things. It's a great way to practice vocabulary, and it feels more active and fun.
And if you want to go even further, you could also keep a small English journal. This can be very simple. Just write one sentence each day about something you did or saw. For example, today I went to the park, or I ate a delicious sandwich. Over time, you'll see your progress and also get used to writing in English. It's like a little story of your English journey.
Yes, a journal is a wonderful idea, and don't worry if it's short or has mistakes. The goal is just to get comfortable with using English. Plus, if you look back after a few months, you'll be able to see how much you've improved. And here's a fun twist. Try using different colored pens or adding little drawings if you like to draw. Make it creative.
And another idea, if you're someone who enjoys drawing or visuals, try creating vocabulary flashcards. You can draw a picture for each new word you learn, or if you're not a fan of drawing, you could cut out pictures from magazines or print them out. For example, if you're learning the word dog, find a picture of a dog and write the word on the card. Reviewing flashcards is a quick way to memorize words, and making them yourself makes it feel more personal and fun.
That's a great one, Max, and if you keep them somewhere easy to reach, like on your desk or in a small box, you can flip through them whenever you have a few minutes. You can even play games with your flashcards, like laying them out and trying to remember each word before you flip it over. Or if you have a friend who's learning English too, quiz each other with the flashcards.
Yes, studying with a friend or family member can make everything more enjoyable. Even if they're not studying English, maybe they can help you practice by just listening or asking simple questions. And speaking of questions, if you don't understand a word, don't be afraid to look it up or ask someone who might know. Being curious and open to asking questions is such a powerful part of learning.
Right, learning is so much easier when you're curious. And if you're someone who loves reading, maybe you could start with simple English books. There are books made just for English learners, and they're often really interesting stories, but with simpler words. And don't worry if you don't understand everything. Just try to enjoy the story and focus on what you do understand.
Yes, graded readers are perfect for English learners. These are books specifically made for people learning English, so they're written in a way that's easier to understand but still interesting. And if you don't want to buy a book, you can find free ones online or even borrow from a library if they have English sections.
And if books aren't your thing, try reading short articles or even the news in English. Some websites, like Simple English Wikipedia, use easier words and shorter sentences. It's a great way to learn about interesting topics while practicing English. And it's totally okay to take it slow and just read a little bit each day.
Yes, exactly. Reading even a few lines each day makes a difference over time. And don't forget about podcasts or YouTube videos in English. There are so many English videos made for learners, and you can find ones on almost any topic you like, whether it's cooking, science, art, or sports. The key is to pick something you're genuinely interested in so it doesn't feel like studying.
Podcasts are such a great way to learn. You can listen while you're doing other things like cleaning or exercising. And even if you don't understand everything, just hearing the language helps. Sometimes you might pick up on new words or phrases just from the context, and you can always look them up later if you're curious.
Exactly, Emma, learning through listening is so powerful, especially when you enjoy the content. And I think one of the most important things is just to be patient with yourself. Learning a language is a journey. Some days will feel easy, and some might feel hard, but each little bit of practice helps you improve.
Yes, Max, that's such a good reminder. Don't worry about being perfect or learning quickly. Just keep finding small ways to add English to your life, and you'll make progress naturally. Learning English doesn't have to be something you sit down and study intensely. It can be woven into your day in simple, fun ways.
Exactly. It's all about making English a part of your daily life in ways that make you happy. When you enjoy what you're doing, learning becomes much easier and you're more likely to stick people with it. So, let's recap some of our tips for creating a fun learning environment. We talked about making an English zone, using English in daily routines, setting challenges, doing role play, and using apps and games.
And don't forget the importance of reading, journaling, and listening to things you enjoy in English. Each of these activities adds up, helping you improve over time without feeling overwhelmed. We hope these ideas inspire you to make English a fun part of your everyday life.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, the key to learning is consistency and enjoyment. Stick with it and keep finding ways to enjoy the journey.
And if you like this podcast, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends and family who are also learning English. We'd love to keep helping you on your English journey. See you next time, and happy learning!